Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obithorian Alliance. In today's video, we are reviewing Fatherhood, Netflix original movie. If you can, like and subscribe. Give us a comment about your thoughts about the movie and yeah, I guess we'll give a synopsis of the movie.
Yeah. So this is our second attempt at doing this video. The first attempt failed, so let's hope this one works.
Yeah.
So let's summarize this movie. So what? We've got a Kevin Hart movie on Netflix that I wasn't aware he was making. It popped up on Netflix and it was, I don't know, ranked number 2 or 3 in Australia. So we both thought we'd watch it.
Yeah.
As the name implies, it's fatherhood. The trailer gives it away what happens. The mother of the daughter passes away.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart takes on the responsibilities of being a single father. The trailer shows all these funny things that are going to happen with him and the difficulties of raising a child. And given Kevin Hart's track record, you think this is going to be hilarious. This is going to be great. It's going to be relatable. It's going to be awesome. Not relatable for all, but there's going to be, if you've ever been a parent, there should be relatable moments. And we'll talk about later whether that happens or not. So what? So the mother passes away. Kevin Hart's left with the daughter and
switches between two scenes. Kevin Hart giving the eulogy, so you kind of know something happens, and then it swaps between the mother giving the birth. So
yeah, I don't know what you call that, but yeah, it's showing the present and then the past kind of at the same time, and then they eventually meet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool way of doing things. Mother passes away. Kevin Hart
from a blood clot, I believe, from giving birth.
Yeah, so I think she had a C-section, had a blood clot, and then from that she tried to stand up and had complications. He has to raise the daughter. He has his parents and his wife's parents. They live in Minnesota, but he does not. He lives in Chicago, maybe? Boston? Thinking Boston. I have a feeling it's Boston because I think he supports the Celtics. So in Boston, they say, why don't you move back home? We'll help you raise the daughter. He goes, nope, I basically can't stand you. You guys are annoying. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to look after the daughter and prove you're wrong. And they said, well, if you can't do it after 6 months' time, move back. And he goes, yep, it's a deal. And the movie just never mentions that again. No. It does not mention it again. We just assume that he succeeds. We see him raise the baby, have some funny moments, and then like that, she's like 8 years old. Just skips all the parts you thought you were going to get. And then what proceeds once she gets older, which takes up like 90% of the movie. She's
basically in a nun church school where her mum wanted her to go. And then she's basically going through her first year of, don't know if it's kindy or prep, whatever school is in America.
Yeah, I'd say it's like a kindergarten kind of thing. Yeah, and then it shows her having like, she's a bit of a tomboy because she grew up with just a dad and she had blokes around her. He works in like IT or something and they design some, I don't know. It just doesn't suit Kevin Hart. Just couldn't imagine it. But he is obviously good at his job. He keeps getting promotions. Him and the daughter seem to get on well. They're all happy. And their friends suggest that maybe you should start dating again.
Yeah.
The daughter seems okay with it. He finds a partner. Things go well. And then for some reason, he then has to take a job up elsewhere, move to like...
He gets a promotion.
Yeah, to like Croatia or something. So he takes the daughter to hang out with her grandparents in Minnesota. She doesn't want to leave. He decides, okay, you can stay there. I'll go away for work. He decides to break up with the girlfriend for like no apparent reason. He then finds this missing necklace that the daughter lost that was the mother's. He decides that he doesn't want to leave her and he goes back and picks her up and They come back to Boston, and then he continues dating the girl, and then that's the movie. It's kind of nothing really happens. There's bits of it that are alright, but in the discussion part, I guess we'll talk about why it doesn't work. But the movie shows all the good parts in the trailer, and then what you hope you're going to get, you don't get. That's how I would summarize it.
Well, everything happened in the beginning. Like, it had a really good start, and then they could have chosen any point of her of the child's life, and unfortunately, because it's a movie and not a TV show, they can't show everything. So sometimes movies are good because, you know, they have a certain window. You know, unfortunately, I think they maybe did choose the wrong period to show, because it felt too easy that he, you know, we didn't see the heartache and the suffering. Like, I don't know about yourself, Luke, but I thought the best parts of the movie was when he was doing the vacuum cleaner and all the scenes when the child was the baby, and then when the child grew up, the movie kind of became stale and predictable.
Yeah, I think that was what you thought the movie would be about. It was going to try and be relatable of the struggles of having a little baby that won't sleep and has stomach problems and has all these different things, and he goes to this mother's group, and you think, okay, this is going to be funny. He's going to keep going back there. They're going to have funny stories. He's going to make friends. No, you see him once. They give him one tip about using white noise, which I'm a recent new dad, and that was like the first thing anyone had told me, so I don't know how he didn't know that. But that's understandable, but that was like the one tip. Like, he didn't Google. Like, if you just Google baby won't stop crying, it's like one of the top things that will come up. So it's kind of strange. And then they never go back on this bet. I really thought maybe the main focus of the film was going to be that first 6 months. Yeah. And him really struggling, going to give in, and then eventually succeeding. And then the grandparents like, you know what, you're doing a great job. We're not going to like suggest you come move with us. And then maybe skip to the end. But instead it skipped that. And then she's like 8, like the least interesting part of the movie could have been like her age period.
And it felt quite confusing with what the movie wanted to structurally tell the audience, because the best part about the movie was at the beginning, and then it had conflict for the sake of conflict, because we probably won't give away here who the new girl that Kevin Hart's character falls in love with, but it's like, oh, they named her for the sake of naming names, but conflict feels forced for the sake of it, instead of rooting for it at the best part when the child would have been younger, or even high school, like having like, it would have been funny if Kevin Hart would have been like stalking the teenage whoever would have been cast, and like with his friends. Like, could you imagine that movie instead?
Yeah, and I think if you're going to skip you go from 1 month old to 8 years old, they could have skipped again. Yeah. They could have shown her at like 1 month, 6 months, a year, 5, 10, 15. Like, that would have been cool. Like, the name of the movie implies it's about fatherhood, but really it doesn't focus on the fatherhood that much. It makes you think it's going to be about raising a child, but it's not really. It kind of focuses on him, the struggles of going back to work, but not really. It focuses on him getting a girlfriend, but then not really. He kind of has success. You think maybe it's going to be the conflict between him and the grandparents, but it isn't. It just has 6 different possible conflicts and picks none of them. Like, it's like people sat there and go, what can we add to this movie? Like you mentioned the name thing. So he finds a girlfriend, and the girlfriend has the same name as the wife that died. And it's like, but why? Like, in real life, that may happen. But if you were writing a movie and you can pick any name in the world, why pick that name unless it's going to be important? It was not important. The daughter did not care. His friends did not care. He did not care. Like, no one cared. So why add something that could be a conflict and then not act on it? It's a really weird structured movie. I don't like to pick on people for making movies because I can't do it, but it seemed like it had no purpose in being made. Like I've said this to you before, a movie can be good for many reasons. It can be full of action, it can have good actors, it can be funny, it could make you feel something. This movie didn't do anything. At the end, I felt like I wasted time, but took nothing away. Like the funny moments were short and in the trailer. It didn't make me sad. It didn't make me reflect. I didn't relate to it. It just was a nothing. It was, I don't know.
I feel like the main problem is that it makes you feel sad at the end, but with how it was structured at the beginning, we kind of already know something has happened. So it does it in a weird way that we know something's going to happen to the mothers, so they did that kind of strange. That's the sad thing that happens in the beginning, and then it's kind of a reason for why he has a freak out for when something happens to the daughter, and then they're back there.
It doesn't make sense that they would cast Kevin Hart. Why pick someone that specializes in comedy
and he's
and
not
make
even the
it
funny man?
And I know he doesn't have to be funny, but why him then? Why pick one of the highest paid actors in the world to be in a movie that is not very good, that doesn't show off his thing that people go to see movies for? It's like casting The Rock to play that. Like, he'd be like, oh, you know what, he's good at action, he's real muscular, and people like him, so let's put him in a movie where he does none of those things, and the movie's crap. Like, I can understand if it's a really good movie and you go, this guy's funny, but we want people to see his serious side. It wasn't. It didn't even show that off. It showed he could act, but it's hard to be a good actor in a movie that has no purpose.
Did you like the decisions that they cast? Because Kevin Hart, I thought, did a good job, but he wasn't cast to his normal role, and sometimes that's good. His black African friend was kind of the comedian, but he wasn't funny.
Yeah. It's just an interesting casting of the movie. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't filmed well. I'm not going to say that people didn't act right. It had a formula that could have worked. They could have went with any of the 6 directions they offered, but instead it went with all of them, but none of them at the same time. Where if they just picked one, if they picked 0 to 6 months, the movie ended at the 6-month mark when they agreed that it was best for him to look after the daughter, that would have been a good movie. I would have liked to have seen him dealing more with, I don't know, maybe the baby being sick, like learning to walk, learning to crawl, talking. It just literally skipped every opportunity it had to show the struggles of being a single dad, and skipped to a part where they're like, yeah, we're killing it. Dad's doing well at work. The daughter's happy at school. We drop her off. Like, she gets a bit bullied because she likes to wear pants, and he's getting a promotion, and now he's going to get a girlfriend. It's like, so what? We just wanted to show off and make out that it's easy to come. Like, the formula to becoming a good single dad is discovering that a vacuum puts your baby to sleep, and then suddenly, after 8 years, she's just like a great child. Like, there's more to that. You can't just think that was the pivotal part in the movie, that he discovered that putting a vacuum on would help the baby sleep. And then from that point, everything was good. All smooth sailing once he worked that out. It's like, that's stupid. That is so dumb. Missed so many different milestones in the child's life that would have been funny or interesting. And I know you can say, well, did the movie have to focus on that? Well, yes, the movie's called Fatherhood. The main purpose, that was the point of the movie, supposedly, about being a father. But instead it was, let's show off that Kevin Hart can use a vacuum and his daughter can become good, and she's going to wear pants, and we're going to show that girls can wear pants, they don't have to wear skirts. Is that the message the movie wants us to take home, that girls can wear pants? Like, that's the only thing I took from it, and that vacuums are cool. Like that, they didn't, nothing else came from that movie.
And did you like seeing the actor from Barry in this movie as well?
Yeah, he was probably almost the highlight of the show.
Yeah, I thought so.
He didn't do much, but it's just because he came across the same. Like, I just thought it was the same character almost. Interesting actor. I don't know how many roles he can be in. Because because he's so unique looking, he'll just always be seen as the same character from Barry. Unless you've never seen Barry, then it'd be different. Let's go for a verdict. What are you going to give it?
I would say a below average to... I think they had a good premise at the start, so I'll probably give it, I'll give credit for the start, because I think the premise at the start had potential, but like I said, because it's a movie, you can skip things, but I don't know why they chose to skip the most important bit. It's like they were in a writing room and it's like, oh, we don't want to show people what parents go through. We know they go through that. So it's like, we have a great idea. We'll show her out of any point in her life when she's, a little more older, instead of, any other point of her life. So I think the beginning was the best part of the movie. So because of that, below average to a okay.
Yeah, it'd be like making a movie about, there's this kid, he grows up, and all he wants to do is be the best race car driver in the world. He gets his first car, and then we skip to the race, and he wins the championship, and then the movie's over, and you're like, cool. Like, we didn't see how he got there. It's just like, why? Like, the person's going to win at the end. Like, like the ending, what the ending's going to be. It's about the journey, not the result. Like, we know that. But it skipped the journey. It's strange. So, you saying below average, so what, around like 2.5 star?
Yeah, below average to okay. Like, the beginning was the best part of the movie, and then, like I said, because it's a movie, it kind of has to skip things, and I just feel like it chose to skip most things, and then they add conflict, and you kind of know there's going to be conflict, and it's like, I would have preferred the growing up, and like you said, I actually liked the movie you came up with better. The 6-month deadline, I think, would have made for a way more fascinating movie, but this is what they chose, and I think,
I'm going to give it like a below average to... we haven't even been to this point of what's less than below average. Below average to like rubbish almost. So like a 2 star, maybe even a 1.5, like 1.5, because these are my main critiques. It had potential and missed them. And I know some people can say, well, maybe because a movie had potential, you can rate it. No, I'm going to give it lower because it had potential and it had a superstar actor. So it had no excuse not to use that potential.
Yeah.
If it was an unknown actor or it was on a low budget channel or something, Netflix, Kevin Hart. There's no reason to not succeed there. You have no excuse. That's like making a basketball team and picking the 5 best players and going, well, it was their first year together. It's like, no, you picked the 5 best players in the league. They should do pretty good. So they have no excuse for being below average. Missed the mark, made me feel nothing, and it was too long. It was bad and long. So that's why I have to give it a bad rating. If it was bad and a quick watch, maybe higher, but it was bad and long, and if we weren't reviewing it, I wouldn't have finished it. Like, I would have absolutely turned it off. So... It's sad. It's sad that Kevin Hart would do it, because I've seen him in other serious movies and he's good. His acting was fine. I hope he didn't write the script for this or have any part in it, because if he did, then I'd dislike him more. But I'd like to think that he got screwed over because he did a good job from what I've seen. Just he didn't have a good script to work with. So yeah, below average to awful.
I guess we'll talk more about because we mostly talk about the beginning and kind of the school stuff. Shall we talk about his relationship with his new girlfriend? Because we didn't really talk much about that.
Yeah, so what? He supposedly didn't do any dating. His friends want to set him up with someone else.
That felt pretty easy. Like, there wasn't any awkward moments sometimes. Like, at first it was like, I don't want to, my kid comes first, but I don't know,
Well, it seemed unnecessary for the movie because it didn't create conflict. The daughter and her got along. She was happy to have her around because she hadn't had a mother in her life. So this person was like a mother. So it could have went the opposite way. She could have hated her and like, I don't want you to date. Like, I don't want you. But no, there's no drama there. They got on well. She liked the daughter. So it was added for no reason. She didn't come pivotal. He didn't have to like choose between his daughter and his girlfriend. Like, she was added just to show that he could date.
And with the name as well.
Yeah, again, like they're just not necessary additives. It's a character that if she was not in the movie would have been the same. The only thing she added was they decided to have a scene where she invited him over to have sex, and he left his phone in his pants, and his daughter fell over and hit her head, and he didn't answer the phone. And that was the only conflict, really, that she added to the whole thing, which could have been anything. He could have been at work and left his phone on silent or in a meeting. Like, it was an unnecessary character added to add nothing to it. Really.
And that's why they broke up, because he felt guilty about not being for the daughter. And it's back to how I referred to when they went to the hospital. The doctor's like, oh, she's going to need stitches. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want to. Why?
Yeah, he hates hospitals because he's like, oh, you kill people here. My wife died. It's like, that's not their fault. She had a blood clot. If you had a blood clot in your brain, like, no one's saving you. So it's not their fault. Freak accident. So yeah, it's an unnecessary character. They just had so many opportunities, and I think time over rewriting it, I think they could have produced something good. I know the story we're coming up with is more tailored towards being funny, and that's probably not what the writers wanted, but it wasn't serious either. It didn't make us feel something. It wasn't like this amazing masterpiece that you go, oh my god, how good's this? It wasn't either of those things. They would have been better off going with funny.
I think the start, like I said, was serious, and then it didn't know what to do with itself.
Yeah, I think if they went down the route of being funny and focusing on the fatherhood in the first 6 months or first year, they would have produced a much better movie. I think it's a movie that was rated on Netflix because of the amount of people that would have viewed it, but no one's watching it twice, and I don't think anyone's going to be telling their friends to watch it.
And did you find it that he made the right choice giving the daughter away to his wife's mother-in-law, and then he found the necklace that he gave his wife, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to go back, I'm going to choose her over the job. Did you buy that, or did you think, oh, that was forced as well?
Well, it's a strange one because he didn't necessarily want to take the job. The daughter went and visited the grandparents. She's like, I want to stay here. I want to live in Minnesota. And then he's like, well, if you want to live here, then I'll take the job. So it was, he was always picking the daughter first, but then she chose there over him, basically. So he took the job. It's just, I just don't see that happening. And the daughter, like, didn't even seem upset that her dad wasn't there. He, like, called and she's like, oh, hey, Dad, like, I'm having a good time. It's like, there's so many movies or even real life where the kid would say, no, I don't want to be here. I want to live with grandma. And then, like, after one day, they're like, no, I want to go back and live with you. But not in this one. She loved it, apparently. Yeah. She didn't care. She had to go to a new school and make new friends, which we didn't see either. We just assumed she did. Just is a mixture of ideas. It's like someone wanted to make a movie about their own life, but their life wasn't interesting. So, like, they pitched this idea. They're like, oh, so the mother dies, and the dad's got to raise the kid by themselves. And I was like, oh, sounds good. And we're going to get Kevin Hart to do it. And they go, oh, this could be great. And then they're like, oh, but it's actually not that interesting of a story. The only interesting thing was that single dad Kevin Hart, but then the rest of the story is like, oh, this is what everyday life looks like. This is fun.
I believe it is loosely on a true story.
Oh, I'm sure it happens every day that the single parent dads like that. But I'm sure they probably have a more interesting story to tell than that. Is that the premise of Pursuit of Happiness? Is Will Smith in that a single dad?
He takes over the custody of the kid because the mother doesn't want to, and yeah.
Like that's an awesome movie. That's like one of
Yeah.
the best movies ever. And like Will Smith, great movie. There's other movies that have done something similar that were better. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, not every movie can be good.
So I guess thank you for helping, Luke. Fortunately, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Let the force be with you. Leave a comment down about your thoughts about the movie. See you next time. Bye-bye.